What a day it's been. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. We're live right here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Today is going to go down in history on this Wednesday, May 21st, the day that Jeffrey Lurie and Jason Kelce saved the Tush push from being banned. Is there anything to talk about today? There's a lot to discuss here on the show. We will be doing a mailbag. I know a lot of you are very excited to chop it up, and I'm really looking forward to answering all of your questions. So, starting right now, you can get your questions in by using the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. That's hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. As you know, for all of the real ones who tune into the live program, so many comments and super chats come in. So when you use that hashtag Eagles, it allows producer Chip to filter through all of them so that he can pop up questions for the mailbag. So again, get those questions in right now. We serve Little G Griffith, Joe Lord, of course, Carol Hosey, Kelly Gasky, Adam Greenspan, all in the chat right now. We are going to talk about the Tush push coming up just around the corner. As soon as the news broke earlier today, we of course did a video right here on the channel, but we have a lot of interesting updates that have come out revealing a lot of the details of what happened this morning from the NFL owners meetings in Minnesota. So stay tuned for that. As you come in here, make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and you like the video. The more likes that we get, the more people who find the stream and the more fun that we're going to have. And yes, the Eagles won the Super Bowl in February, but this victory with the Tush push, it's another great win for this Eagles organization. So let's celebrate it here. If anybody sends in a $50 super chat, you already know. I'm taking down a shotgun. Let's get it. Let's party. Joe Lord with $5 right here. The Packers sipping that copium today. Respect to the 9 owners who recognize real. Still stacking dubs with the brotherly shove, one love. And we will pass along those details as far as the other 9 owners, in addition to the Philadelphia Eagles, who voted to keep the Tush push. That is coming up here just momentarily. But if you're ready to talk some Eagles, hit that thumbs up icon. Like the video. Already about 90 people watching live, and the show just got underway. A lot of people are getting that notification, starting to pile in. We're at 18 likes right now. Let's get that like number up, and let's get some more people in here because I'm ready to talk some birds. Chip is ready to talk some Eagles, and I know a lot of you are ready to talk some Philadelphia Eagles as well, as we have a loaded show coming your way on this Wednesday, May 21st. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr., and the official show gets underway right now. We're off and running. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you, and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. And this day will be remembered on this Wednesday, May 21st in the course of Eagles franchise history for the organization as well as the fan base. And coming up here on this show, more important details on the Tush push ban failing. But first, if you are happy that the Tush push is here to stay, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If not, I want you to comment why, and I'm interested to see why you're on the other side of this debate. What a big victory for Philadelphia, and what a calendar year it has been for the Eagles. They win the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs in New Orleans in February. They have a really good NFL draft after having a really solid NFL free agency. The future is looking bright for Philadelphia. And then the last couple of months, the Eagles have had to deal with all of the drama that is involved this potential Tush push ban. The Packers' proposal needed 24 votes. This new proposal today only got 22, so it rounded out to be a 22-10 vote. And that is the same score that the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Green Bay Packers by in the wild card round. And going into this vote today at the NFL owners meetings in Minnesota, the Eagles felt as though they were taking on an uphill battle. A lot of people around the league thought the Tush push was going to get canned. It is not. And it lives on for another year. And because the Eagles won this fight, There should never be a tush-push vote again because the Eagles took on the entire National Football League for the most part. They come out victorious here, and Elliott Shore-Parks, a 94 WIP, going as far as to say the Eagles should build a statue of the tush-push outside of Lincoln Financial Field. They invented the play. They've been dominant with this play. It's been a big part of their success, and they beat the NFL. Now, there are a couple of names and faces that you need to remember. This is Mark Murphy. Used to play for the Packers. Great player for Green Bay. He is the president and CEO of the Packers. Of note, the Packers do not have an owner. That is how that organization operates. But he was instrumental in coming up with this proposal to try to get the tush-push banned. And then these photos were actually sent to me. They're completely real photos. This is Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. Not after he lost to the Eagles in week 1. Not after he lost to the Eagles in week 2. But this is Matt LaFleur today after the tush-push ban did not pass. And then this photo of Jordan Love. It's also real. This was also texted to me. And he was on the practice field today trying to get ready for the 2025 season. And he found out the news that the brotherly shove is not going anywhere. It's going to live on. And that photo of him was also sent to me. He's in tears too, alongside his head coach in Matt LaFleur. As far as some of the real details that are coming out of the NFL owners' meetings, here are the 10 teams in the National Football League that voted to keep the tush-push. Philadelphia Eagles, Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, New Orleans Saints, New York Jets, and the Tennessee Titans. Who's missing right there? Of note, no Indianapolis Colts, no Arizona Cardinals. Who are they coached by? Shane Steichen, former Eagles offensive coordinator. Jonathan Gannon, former Eagles defensive coordinator. They were coordinators under Nick Sirianni, and they did not help persuade their respective owners to vote yes in keeping this play. Who did vote yes to keep the tush-push in the National Football League? Former Eagles offensive coordinator and Super Bowl champion Kellen Moore, who is now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. I can't wait to see the next time that the Eagles play against the Cardinals, play against the Colts, what that handshake is going to be like post-game between Sirianni and Gannon and Sirianni and Shane Steichen. Because this is what Sirianni said in March. Jonathan Gannon, Kellen Moore, Shane Steichen, they are head coaches because of the tush-push. So I better have those 3 votes right there. As we know, back in April, earlier this offseason, it was an even 16-16 split. The only one of those 3, as we know, that voted for the Eagles was the Saints. So those 10 teams, the ones that we mentioned. Good on Kellen Moore. Because, yes, he did a great job as the Eagles offensive coordinator. Players had great years. Saquon Barkley had the best single season for a running back in the history of the NFL. Jalen Hurts played very well all year, then played elite football in the NFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl. Kellen Moore was willing to adapt his pass-heavy approach to run the football behind this offensive line with the special talent that is Saquon. And in the playoffs, in particular in the NFC title game when the Eagles dropped 55 points, and then in the Super Bowl when Philadelphia crushed Kansas City, Kellen Moore was in his bag. And I just think that teams trying to find cowardly reasons to ban the tush-push and coming up with all of these excuses which aren't backed up by data and facts, it's weak. And it's teams overthinking. And teams have been overthinking short yardage situations as well. Take some notes from the Super Bowl champions. Warren Sharp at this tweet. Forget the tush-push. It seems like teams are blowing this. 84% of quarterback sneaks on 4th and short convert first downs. Yet only 23% of 4th and short plays are actually quarterback sneaks. The answer is there with a basic quarterback sneak. Just use it as often as Philadelphia. And you look at the 4th and 1 play type and total plays called and the conversion rate. 227 quarterback sneaks. 84% conversion rate. 71 other quarterback runs, non-sneaks, down to 79%. 59 non-quarterback, non-running back runs, 73%. 363 running back runs, it drops down to 66%. And on the 256 called pass plays on 4th and 1, 61%. Furthermore, on 4th and 1 the last 3 years, we have seen 619 pass attempts or running back runs. Those convert 61 and 66% respectively, but only 227 quarterback sneaks, which convert 84% of the time. We're not talking many tush pushes here. Philadelphia accounted for just 34 of those 227 sneaks. Quarterback sneaks crush. I have been saying this for years on this platform and others. The quarterback sneak is the most underrated, underutilized play in football, and it's the most efficient play in all of football. And then there's this data in particular for the Green Bay Packers. Let's look at the Packers, for example. They wanted to ban the tush push. They rank 30th on 4th and 1 the last 3 years with a 55% conversion rate. But their quarterback sneaks convert at an 80% clip. But instead of calling quarterback sneaks, they call a lot of low percentage passing plays and running back runs. That's on Matt LaFleur. Bad job by him. As for some more details coming out of the NFL owners' meetings, there's this one from Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio. According to a source, the league office pushed the Packers to propose the failed tush push ban. Sounds as though there's a leak coming out of that Packers building in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Here's what Pro Football Talk had to say. When Lions president Rod Wood blurted out that the league office nudged the Lions to propose a new seating system, it opened a new avenue for understanding how the rulemaking sausage gets made. And we suggested at the time that 345 Park Avenue possibly put the Packers up to proposing a tush-push ban as well. Per a league source, that's exactly what happened. The league asked the Packers to do this, and the Packers took one for the team. As the source put it, most in the Green Bay organization don't care about the play either way. It never made sense for the Packers to be the anti-push poster child. They lost to the Eagles twice last year. A proposal coming from Green Bay reeked of sour grapes. Couple of things here. When the Eagles come off their Week 9 bye and play against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field in Week 10, I hope that on the first play from scrimmage, on 1st and 10, the Eagles run this tush push. And if it's successful, run it again. And if it's successful again, run it again. Try to pick up a first down on that first few play sequence. The other thing, too, if the NFL wanted the Green Bay Packers to take one for the team, why has Matt LaFleur said over and over and over again that he wanted this play banned? Why did the Green Bay Packers come up with a couple of new proposals? Did the Packers leak that, or is this legit? The Packers look like sore losers either way, and I'm not buying that. Before we continue to push forward, sorry to interrupt this great show, but a quick reminder to subscribe to us here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. If you want daily shows on the Birds, I always have you covered. Looking ahead to the 2025 season, by the way, if you want to get geared up and get an Eagles jersey to celebrate their Super Bowl championship, if you want to get a Jahad Campbell jersey because you think that he's going to be a stud as the Eagles moved up one spot to take him in the 2025 NFL Draft, you want to rock a Kelly Green jersey, the cleanest jerseys in all of sports, you can get a Saquon jersey or somebody else. So many different jerseys available thanks to our friends at Fanatics. You simply plug in that link down below, chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. It takes you to Fanatics. Fanatics knows that your boy Chase Sr., Eagles Now, and Chatsports sent you. It's chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. To the juiciest part of the show. Are you ready for a wet dream reference for a teenage boy? That's coming your way from Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie. And how about this? Jason Kelce showed up to the NFL owners meetings today alongside Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, and it has been reported that Jason Kelce may have helped to convince undecided owners to keep the tush push in play. Diana Rossini, on what happened behind closed doors, and I will say this for Rossini, she's on a cold streak right now. She has missed a lot, but this is more sourced information with what happened behind closed doors. One high-ranking league source who was in the room said Jeffrey Lurie was like a guy trying to convince his girlfriend why she shouldn't leave him. Throughout his pitch, Lurie was emotional, passionate, and at one point, crude. He said the fact that his team came up with a play so unstoppable that the rest of the league had no other choice but to try to ban it, it was, quote, like a wet dream for a teenage boy. Toward the end of his address, he told the assembled owners that regardless of the day's result, he and his franchise would walk out winners with Super Bowl rings to show for it. Kelce was next. He spent his entire playing career with the Eagles, retiring after 2023. He ran the Tush push countless times over his final 2 seasons. On Wednesday, he wasn't loud and animated, instead offering his expertise as an all-pro center and arguing for why the play should remain. He said, quote, if I could run 60 Tush pushes a game, I'd come back. It was a vote about process more than what was right, one league source told me. People don't like the NFL telling people how to vote. Health and safety was cited, but how about this? NFL Chief Medical Officer Alan Sills wasn't here today. We know the motto by now. No one likes us. We don't care. And Jeffrey Lurie is the owner of this organization. He is oftentimes a very calculated, very smart, intelligent owner who shies away from the spotlight. You will never see him going about public relations like a Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, after every game, will literally have dozens and dozens of media members around him. He loves that type of attention. Jeffrey Lurie does not do that. Jeffrey Lurie is polite. Jeffrey Lurie is soft-spoken. He's a great and aggressive and intense businessman. But for him to compare the Eagles' invention, dominance, and perfection of this play to a wet dream while saying, whatever happens, we're going to walk out of here as Super Bowl champions, I absolutely love it. He wanted to defend his organization. He wanted to defend this play, and he was tired of the narrative that this play should get banned for things that are unproven. There are no safety concerns. There are no pace of play issues. And he realizes this play has been very important to the Philadelphia Eagles' success. No one likes us. We don't care. Go Birds. Oh, there it is. $50 super chat from Dennis Designs. We'll get to that here in a moment. Speaking of $50 super chats, Jonathan Efrog knows all about that. $2, he said, big dog here. Jonathan, have you rocked your Eagles Now hat that we sent you? Still working on getting you those jerseys. Not sure what the holdup is, but I promise you, we will get you those jerseys. No worries, my brother. Jay Dilla, Packers pack fudge. Go Birds. That's good stuff right there. And then Dennis Designs with the $50 super chat. Chase, the best thing today is the Eagles put out a half-hour tush push highlight reel. I got a kick out of that. Way to give it to them. No one likes us. We don't care. Go Birds. Thanks, Kelce and Jeffrey Lurie. Yeah, I mean, the troll game by the Eagles organization and social media team, fantastic.
Oh, great.
I mean, they tweet out the Jalen Hurts photo of him conducting the brotherly shove against the Green Bay Packers, and then they release a damn near 30-minute video of a tush-push highlight reel. And that video had, when I saw it, like 10,000 views within the first hour. It's just popping off on YouTube. Fantastic stuff right there. Dennis, did you send that in for me to do a shotgun? If so, I will message the fine folks here at Chat Sports to bring me a happy dad.
Getting wild on a Wednesday, baby.
Yes, sir.
The Instagram post, too, that the Eagles made. They made a couple, but
What was that?
there was one where they posted like a slideshow of multiple different, basically memes, just making fun of the tush push stuff. I mean, there's some great stuff on here, man. They posted like the SpongeBob clip. I don't know if you heard me playing it earlier, of Mr. Krabs playing the sad violin, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They posted that.
That's good stuff. I mean, a SpongeBob meme never really fails.
No.
It just never fails. Jay Dilla, I woke up and that was the first thing I saw on Instagram. That's good stuff. Mystery Dragon with the $2 super chat. F the Packers, go Birds. FGB, FGB, FGB. Joe Lord, did I get a haircut? I did, man. I got a haircut, what was that? 2 Saturdays ago? 2 Saturdays ago I got the haircut. Carol Hosey, Packers with a bunch of laughing emojis. Good stuff right there. And then there's that super chat from Mystery Dragon 3D. By the way, use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. And we are officially $39 away from $100 in super chats.
Look at that.
Let's enjoy the rebirth.
Oh, I don't know if that's going to work.
That should work. We'll try it out.
Oh, man.
Try it out. You got your keys? Oh, yeah, I'll definitely use the keys.
Using that plastic knife.
Let me get this going.
Yeah, that'll get her done.
Yeah,
That'll get her done. Tush, push your way through that beard, Chase.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, legend. Appreciate you. Dennis Designs. This is for you, and this is for the Tush Push living on.
FGB. 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 Too easy.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
I think we're back. We're back. Oh. 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 Ha. Oh. Ha. Oh. I love
There we
it.
go.
I love it. Audio is back. Chip was pounding the table, and
I was getting a little too excited.
the
now.
plug for our audio box came out. What I was saying, mailbag is coming up, segment number 3. We're about to do segment number 2. If you have a question, if you have a hot take, use the hashtag Eagles. Send in a super chat. What I was also saying is that Eagles OTAs, they are next week. And so we're going to be able to talk some actual football next week. If you have questions about this roster, trade ideas, trade rumors, draft, free agency, the schedule, the tush push, whatever you got, put it on me, baby. Hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. All right. Let's move forward to segment number 2. A lot of news and rumors going into OTAs. So let's hop into it right now. Hey there, welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Sr. here with you. And by the time that you're watching this video, I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend. Coming up here on the show, I want to go through the latest Eagles news, Eagles rumors, and roster questions going into Eagles OTAs, which get underway this upcoming week. And we could talk some actual football here. You got to love it. And the 2025 season is going to be here before we know it. Eagles training camp is going to be here at the end of July. Then we'll have 3 preseason games. And then the regular season will start in early September as the Eagles play host to the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday, September 4th. So that Eagles OTA schedule, OTA standing for Organized Team Activities, for those of you not familiar, they start May 27th and 28th, right after Memorial Day. May 30th, they pick back up June 2nd and the 3rd, and then they end on June 5th. And then there will be mandatory minicamp for the defending Super Bowl champions, which starts on June 10th. Eagles OTAs, they are optional. Mandatory minicamp, everybody is expected to be there. And one of the biggest question marks with this Eagles team going into 2025 and currently, what will Howie Roseman and the Eagles do with edge rusher Bryce Huff? He was a big free agent acquisition 2 free agency cycles ago. He got $34 million in guaranteed money. He has no more guaranteed cash left on his contract after 2025. And I think the Eagles' actions have been very telling here. They have loaded up on the edge rusher position. They signed Azeez Ojulari, signed Josh Uche, drafted Antoine Powell-Ryland, Ty Robinson. They drafted Jahad Campbell, who can rush the quarterback from that edge spot and play off-ball linebacker. But Nolan Smith and Jalex Hunt, I think, will continue to flourish with this Eagles team. And so where are their snaps for Bryce Huff? You could go to the avenue of trading him. You could potentially just eat this deal and some dead money and outright release him to let him go to another team of his choosing. But I'm just not sure how much he's going to play, because it seems as though last year he never earned the trust of legend and Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Nolan Smith and Jalex Hunt should be the starting edge rushers for Philadelphia. The backups, you do have Bryce Huff, you have Josh Uche, you have Azeez Ojulari, and Antoine Powell-Ryland. So there will be a roster crunch for some of the players who have a lot of talent, who other teams would probably like, in trying to make this 53-man roster. And I know a lot of people were down on Bryce Huff. I mean, anytime you sign a player to a contract that is worth $34 million in guaranteed money, yet he only has 182 pass rush snaps and barely produces, that's not good. But could another team be interested when they look at the production that he had when maybe he was playing in a scheme that is not friendly to him, and he did at points make the most of his opportunities? Because in those 182 pass rush snaps, he did log 17 hurries. He had 20 pressures. He had 2.5 sacks, and he was not graded poorly by Pro Football Focus. He was in the green here for the overall PFF grade of 68.3, the pass rush grade of 68.2, and the run defense grade of 60.2. There are 2 teams that really come to mind who could use the services of Bryce Huff and make sense for the player that he is and the needs that they have. One of those teams is the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, they drafted James Pierce and they drafted Jalen Walker. Those are really young players, though, for Atlanta. They played in the SEC, Walker at Georgia, Pierce at Tennessee, but they do not have a lot of talent, nor do they have a lot of depth at that defensive end edge rusher spot. And so the Falcons last year in 2024, they allowed the highest completion percentage in the NFL at 69.9%. They gave up the second most touchdowns in the NFL with 34. They were last in the NFL in sacks and last in pressure percentage at 28.1%. And so the Falcons are a team that could make sense for Bryce Huff. The other team, the San Francisco 49ers. 2 years ago, in 2023, prior to Bryce Huff signing that contract with Philadelphia, he had a true breakout year for the New York Jets. Guess who his head coach was with the New York Jets? Robert Saleh. Guess where Robert Saleh is now? The defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. This was a season where Bryce Huff, as a former UDFA, popped off. He had a 79.7 overall PFF grade, 33rd among 197 edge rushers. His pass rush grade was 86.8. That was 11th. He logged that year 45 hurries, 10 sacks according to PFF, 16 stops, 12 quarterback hits, and 67 total pressures. The pressure number is 15th. The hurry number's 15th. I think that Bryce Huff can play. I'm just not sure he's a fit for what Philadelphia wants to do. So Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, the 2 teams that I think Howie Roseman could potentially call if the Eagles want to trade Huff away. Big storyline number 2 going into OTAs, and something that we're going to be keeping an eye on here, who will win the right guard competition? And will it be former third-round pick from a couple of years ago out of Alabama, prior to that Vanderbilt, Tyler Steen? And can Jeff Stoutland have Tyler Steen develop and have a breakout year for Philadelphia? Because right now, he's penciled in at that right guard spot. We already know who the 4 other starters are going to be. Jordan Mailata, one of the highest graded offensive tackles in the game last year, one of the most dominant players in the NFL. Landon Dickerson, best left guard in the NFL. Cam Jurgens, fresh off getting that bag at center. And then you have Lane Johnson, the ageless wonder, who continues to be the best right tackle in all of football. Other players who could be competing for that right guard spot, Tyler Steen, Kenyon Green, who the Eagles traded for in that C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade, Trevor Keegan, the Eagles drafted him 2 years ago out of Michigan. Matt Pryor, the former Eagle, is back. He played very good at the guard spot for Chicago last year. You have Holland Pierce. You have Miles Hinton. You have Cameron Williams, all rookies who could also be vying for that right guard spot. And look, Tyler Steen has it. Tyler Steen, we've seen some glimpses of him playing really good football. Tyler Steen is an excellent athlete. Pre-draft process, he earned, going into the 2023 draft, a 994 relative athletic score grade. He's 6'6", 321. He had 31 reps at 225 pounds on the bench press. The vertical and the broad good. The shuttle good. But as Jason Kelce said, he just needs to be more consistent. And last year, there was good and bad. When he had to play in the NFC Championship game in a pinch, I thought he played well. When he had to play earlier in the year, I thought he played pretty well at right guard. He had to replace Landon Dickerson at left guard in the NFC Championship game. When you look at the PFF numbers, not good at all, right? 40.6 overall grade, 37.7 pass blocking grade, 50.6 run blocking grade. Positional versatility, he has it. He played a lot of snaps at left guard and at right guard. The good, 0 sacks and 0 hits. As for Kenyon Green, can he compete with Tyler Steen? He's going to need to be better than he was last year, when he was one of the lowest graded offensive linemen and guards in the National Football League. Former first-round pick, he could be a project that Jeff Stoutland gets on the right road, but man, he's got to do a lot of work. Overall PFF grade of 38.6, 132nd among 136 interior guards last year. Pass blocking grade, 39.7. Run blocking grade, 44.6. He allowed 28 pressures, 582 snaps at left guard. Can he play right guard? Yes, he can play right guard. So he'll be in the competition, but it's Tyler Steen's job to lose. Who will win the Eagles' right guard job? I want you to predict that for me down in the comment section right now. Drop me a name, and if you have some thoughts on this, of course, you can elaborate on that. More to get to here on the show, but first, our sponsor, our friends at Prize Picks. Get $50 when you play $5. How do you do it? You enter the link, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Right now, you can cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Here's how this works. Knicks, Pacers, Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go with Jalen Brunson, more than 28.5 points. Miles Turner, more than 15.5 points. Josh Hart, less than 12 points. 2 Villanova legends right there for those of you in the greater Philadelphia area. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. And right now, you get $50 when you play $5. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Next up, how will Vic Fangio order the safeties alongside Reed Blankenship? There's a really good competition there at that spot as well. Reed Blankenship, one of the more underrated defenders on this Eagles team, one of the more underrated players on this Eagles team, and I think he's one of the more underrated safeties and defensive players in the National Football League. He's made so many big plays time and time again. He's a good tackler for the most part. He's good in coverage, good ball skills, and he's been a pretty highly graded player as well. Always in the right place at the right time. But who will start next to him? Will it be Sidney Brown, a third-round pick from a couple of years ago out of Illinois? Will it be second-round pick from April's draft in Andrew Makuba? The other thing, too, there's a little bit of a lack of safety depth. So who's going to be safety 4 on this Eagles team? That can be a part of this conversation because right now that battle is between Andre Sam, Tristan McCullum, and former first-round pick and Georgia Bulldog Lewis Seen. Could the Eagles go out and sign a player like 4-time second-team All-Pro Justin Simmons? I would say that right now, currently, just because of the experience level, it is Sidney Brown who has the inside track at winning this job, and he's a different player than Andrew Makuba. Sidney Brown is really good downhill, very physical, plays the game in a very spirited way. We saw that on special teams last year, and I would classify Sidney Brown as a thick thumper. Andrew Makuba plays with physicality. Like Sidney Brown, he plays like his hair is on fire. He's not afraid to hit, but he's a little bit lighter and leaner. He, too, has better positional versatility. Sidney Brown, kind of a 4.5, 40-yard dash guy. Andrew Makuba, more of a 4.4 guy. Plays the game passion-wise, versatility-wise, physicality-wise, like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And so I like both young players. I like how they bring different skill sets to this Eagles team, but which player is going to lock up that safety position opposite of Reed Blankenship? And then there's this viable question. Will Howie Roseman make a move in general? Will he make a move for a wide receiver 3? Or are the Eagles content with Jahan Dotson? Will the Eagles look to bring in more wide receiver depth? If they do, they probably don't like what they've seen from the likes of Johnny Wilson, Anaya Smith, and Terrace Marshall. Could a UDFA come out of nowhere and perhaps make a good impression on Philadelphia? There's a free agent wide receiver who I think could make a lot of sense for Philadelphia, and that is Amari Cooper. He's been highly productive. I think that he could find a lot of success out of the slot. 2 years ago in 2023, he had more than 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns. Drop issues have been an issue for Amari Cooper. Last year, he had a down year, split between Cleveland and Buffalo. But he has been for a long time one of the most productive wide receivers in the game. And at this point, no, he's not a number 1 any longer. He's not a number 2. But if he's a number 3 or a 4, you'd kind of like that depth. There's also this possibility. The Eagles are said to be a team that could potentially monitor the market of Saints wide receiver Chris Olave, a former first-round pick by New Orleans a couple of years ago in 2022 out of Ohio State. The Saints were able to pick him kind of in a way because of that A.J. Brown draft night trade, which involves some picks, and then the Jordan Davis trade as well. Chris Olave, obviously, going to be playing under Kellen Moore if he stays with New Orleans. And his first 2 years, he went over 1,000 yards, 72 catches as a rookie, 4 touchdowns, 1,042 yards. And then in year 2, more than 1,100 yards on 87 catches, and he had 5 touchdowns. Last year, unfortunately, dealing with a lot of concussion issues. I would say this is a little bit more unrealistic that Howie Roseman makes a move like this. 1, Olave is going to be looking for a new deal soon. Number 2, I don't think the Saints would trade him to Philadelphia, especially because Howie Roseman has fleeced the Saints in a lot of recent moves. Number 3, what would the target share look like for a player like Chris Olave? Because this Eagles team with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on it, they haven't really been able to find a wide receiver 3 option to be productive. And number 4, I think Jahan Dotson, he's fine in that role. Let's go, Legends. If you enjoyed today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, I want you to give me a real one down in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for supporting the program. All right. Going to do a mailbag coming up next.
Yes, Yes, sir.
I
Mailbag coming up.
Yeah, I saw Andrew Nathan get that question in using the hashtag Eagles. How are we doing on that shit?
Let's see. Oh, we had a bunch. Let's see. Now, are they all about the tush push? We'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, no, we got some good questions in here.
That's
man.
what you love to hear.
Oh, we got some great questions in here. I thought it was going to be all tush push stuff, which I wouldn't be mad about. But got to have some variety, you know?
I agree.
And we got some good variety of questions here.
All right.
Shout out to the people. Shout out to the real ones in the chat. Type in real one as well.
Yes, sir. Thomas Mayo, Carol Hosey, Reginald Walker, Gino and Joseph. All type in real one. We're at $63 in Super Chats. That means we're 37 away from 100. Can we get there by the end of this mailbag? If we do, we'll sing No One Likes Us, We Don't Care, and Fly Eagles Fly. If we can get to $100 in Super Chats. All it takes is a $37 Super Chat. All right. Hashtag Eagles or send in a Super Chat to be a part of the show. Mailbag is coming up next live here on the show. So let's start to open up the floor and take all of your questions, and let's get into it. Yo, what's good? Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and coming up, we're going to open up the floor and do a mailbag. I'm taking all of your questions and your hot takes. Before we take your questions, though, let's take a look at our sub-battle between Eagles Now and the Cowboys Report, two powerhouse channels here at Chat Sports. Over the last 7 days, the Cowboys Report has picked up 152 new subscribers. Philadelphia Eagles Now right behind the Cowboys Report at 145. How about them Cowboys? Go Birds, go on down, hit that subscribe button, and let's get another win over the Dallas Cowboys. This is also why you should subscribe to the channel. We involve you in all of our shows. I hit you with daily Eagles coverage right here on YouTube. It's elite. We talk everything from news to the latest rumors. I pass along a lot of analysis. We do live shows and watch parties. And I have 5 key pillars of this show. Anytime I'm in front of this camera on this microphone, I want our Eagles Now content to be insightful, informative, entertaining, thought-provoking, where you can be involved. So if all that sounds good and you want to be a part of the movement, lock us in and hit that subscribe button right now. Let's start to take your questions here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Adam Greenspan with this one. Which game next year will be the toughest? Adam, that's a really good question because this Eagles schedule going into 2025 is a very difficult one. It is the hardest schedule year over year as far as the difficulty jump going from 2024 to 2025. And based upon opponents' winning percentage from the previous year, this is the 4th hardest schedule in the National Football League. And here it is. You got Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, Broncos, Giants, Vikings, and Giants all within the first 8 weeks. I think that week 1 Cowboys game going to be difficult because the Cowboys going to be motivated as the Eagles hoist that Lombardi Trophy banner. Week 2, you have to play the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a hard game. Rams, rematch of the divisional round. That's a difficult game. Then you go on the road to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think the first 4 weeks of the season really going to test Philadelphia. And all of those are hard games. On the road against the Vikings, that's one of the more difficult places to play in the National Football League. Week 9 bye for Philadelphia. They come out of it against the Green Bay Packers. That'll be a hard game. Detroit Lions have a ton of talent. You have an improved Bears team on Black Friday. You're on the road against the Chargers. You have to play the Commanders twice in 3 weeks. You have to go on the road, tough environment, cold environment against the Buffalo Bills. So, honestly, you choose what the hardest game is because there's a lot of them, but I'm ready for the challenge right there. And by the time that the playoffs come around, the Eagles could be absolutely battle-tested and mentally tough. Andrew Nathan always bringing the heat here on the show, one of our most loyal viewers. It was very interesting hearing A.J. Brown and Jordan Mailata talk about Kevin Patullo, the new offensive coordinator. Do you think that we'll go with a more balanced offense, or should we stick to the run and pass as a complement to the run? You have a couple of thoughts there. I think it's pretty notable that a lot of players on this Eagles team seem to be very excited about Kevin Patullo being elevated to offensive coordinator. He's been the right-hand man for Nick Sirianni since Sirianni came to Philadelphia in 2021. I thought it was very interesting how when I was at the Super Bowl and we asked Sirianni about Patullo, how he said how involved he is, that Sirianni runs all of his head coaching decisions and duties through Kevin Patullo first, and Patullo really helps him out with a lot of those decisions. And then he also said that Patullo plays a huge role in game planning. And keep in mind, Kevin Patullo has been a part of an Eagles offensive coaching staff that has been one of the top offenses in the NFL since Sirianni came here in 2021. And so what will the Eagles offense look like in 2025? There are so many factors there. Will it be more balanced? Brandon Graham said a couple of weeks ago he thinks it will be as compared to the Eagles running about 60% of the time last year. But I think every year is a little bit different, right? Last year, Saquon Barkley was so special. This Eagles offensive line was incredible. The Eagles found success on the ground. So it would be idiotic to go away from the run. This year, if teams really go all out and sell out and trying to stop the run, you're going to throw it a little bit more. If you find success throwing the ball, then yes, you want to target A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So it really does depend. I think it's always great to have a balanced offense to keep the opposing defense off kilter and off guard so that they don't know what's coming. As for Carol Hosey, here's her question. What is the latest update on Justin Simmons? I know there were rumors about him wanting to join us. Yeah, I mean, Justin Simmons has said himself that he would love to play under Vic Fangio and Christian Parker once again. He said that pretty much to Kay Adams. And then Brian Baldinger, we love Baldy here on the show, he said a couple of weeks ago that Justin Simmons wants to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Baldy even said, get him a house in South Jersey. He'll be there. And so I think Simmons makes a lot of sense for the Eagles. That is a very young safety room, an unproven safety room outside of Reed Blankenship. You have Sidney Brown, Andrew Makuba vying for a starting role alongside Reed Blankenship. You really don't know what those two players are as safeties at the NFL level. And Justin Simmons gives you a veteran presence who knows the system, who knows Vic Fangio and Christian Parker. He's not going to cost that much money, and he brings a lot of chops to your Eagles organization. He'd be a great locker room fit. We're talking about a guy who is a 4-time second-team All-Pro. Now, what I think happens here, Carol, Justin Simmons did not sign with the Atlanta Falcons until August 15th, even later of 2024. That's in the midst of training camp and when the preseason is getting underway. So he signed that deal with Atlanta. It was a 1-year, $7.5 million contract. I think the Eagles can get him for $4 million because he didn't play that well last year. And so he will wait probably once again to see what his best fit is. And I think what the Eagles want to find out, let's see what we have with Sidney Brown. Let's see what we have with Andrew Makuba. Let's see if a former first-round pick, Lewis Seen, can do something. Let's see if Tristan McCullum can make some strides. We've had Andre Sam the last couple of years as a former UDFA on the practice squad. Can he be a backup safety? If the Eagles don't feel confident in some of these young players, it feels like a guarantee that they're going to sign Justin Simmons. Joe Lord, how much faith do you have in Kelee Ringo? I'm sort of on the fence. I think he's a great special teams player, but I'm concerned about him in coverage. Not sure if he can replace Slay. I think the Eagles really like him. They've said as much. When I was at the Super Bowl, Christian Parker was saying, I think that Kelee Ringo can be a really good player. He's 6'1", over 200 pounds. He has 4.3 speed. He has length and physicality. So he can run really well. He can jam receivers. He's physical. He's not going to be overwhelmed by some of the more physical specimen wide receivers in the NFL. I do want to see, does he have ball skills? Can he track the ball? Does he have a good feel for the game? He is a guy who's still very young. He's younger going into year 3 than a lot of players who were drafted this past year across the NFL. For instance, Ty Robinson's 24. Kelee Ringo is still younger than him. And so he's still a player who has some room to develop. I do think with the Eagles signing Adoree Jackson, that was a little bit of an insurance policy, but you do have a couple of options here. Cooper DeJean can always move outside. Adoree Jackson primarily plays on the outside. If DeJean moves to the outside, he has 4.4 speed. Mac McWilliams can play along the inside. You have B.J. Mays who can maybe play that role as well. Eli Ricks as a backup who's extremely long. But I think the Eagles let Slay go, and Slay only got $10 million from the Pittsburgh Steelers because they feel confident in Kelee Ringo. The athleticism, it's all there. He just has to put it together, and we'll see if he can become more than just a special teams player. Andrew Nathan again. Chase, do you think the Eagles are looking around the league for a potential running back to grab when cuts happen? Honestly, I don't like our running back depth after Saquon. Your thoughts? I love Will Shipley. Will Shipley, I think, is a really solid player, and I think that he's a fine backup. I think A.J. Dillon, when healthy, is a good backup, but he's coming off a neck injury, and he didn't play last year. Neck injury for a physical running back who prides himself on bulldozing guys, yeah, that's a big concern. As far as RB4, who's it going to be? We're really not sure. Eagles picked up a couple of intriguing UDFAs. Shenderick Powell, Montrell Johnson. Could they earn that spot? Or, yeah, the Eagles could monitor that waiver wire. They let go of a guy like Ty Davis Price, who I think could have been in the running for RB4. But I think the Eagles may have made that move because they like Powell. They like Johnson. They have Avery Williams, too, who could be a gadget guy. And I don't think Lou Nichols is seriously going to challenge for that spot. But the Eagles let Ty Davis Price go over Lou Nichols. And then there's this last one coming in from Mystery Dragon. He said, would the Eagles be favored to win another Super Bowl again this year? Let's take a look at the Super Bowl odds. Let's take a look at what we got. Super Bowl odds as of a couple of days ago. The Eagles and Chiefs, both 6-1 to win Super Bowl 60. Now, oftentimes, the two teams that played in the Super Bowl the prior year, they're the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl. For instance, the Niners and the Chiefs last year, going into 2024, they were the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl. Eagles are plus 600 to win the Bowl, 3-1 to win the conference. The Chiefs are plus 350. The division minus 145. The Chiefs, the division minus 130. The over-under for wins for both teams, 11.5. And so despite the Eagles having a very difficult schedule, the odds makers picking the over-under at 11.5. There are 4 teams who have an over-under for 11.5. Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. So, yeah, to answer your question, Eagles still in the thick of the Super Bowl hunt to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Speaking of that, transition to this. What will the Eagles' record be in 2025? I need you to predict it for me down in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Great mailbag. Thanks for bringing the heat, everybody. Certainly appreciate that. Good stuff. All right, here's what I'm going to do. If you want us to stay live, you have to send in a super chat within 2 minutes. If not, Chip and I are going to sign off. You want us to stay live, send in a super within 2 minutes. If not, we're signing off.
Yeah, Mystery Dragon. Not sure why your name pops up like that. It might be the
it's the font
like,
that you
text.
use.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you use that font. If you're using like a different keyboard or something on your phone.
Yeah, because your text comes in as a different type of font.
Look at these record predictions here. All 13 and 14 wins, baby.
Let's go. You gotta love it, baby. All right, 45 seconds into the 2-minute shot clock. Giordano Molina, 13 and 4. Carol Hosey, 13 and 4. Mystery Dragon, 13 and 4. Adam Greenspan, 12 and 5. Gino and Joseph. Chase, why are you going to log off just because if you don't get a super chat? I'm not being rude. I'm just curious. Because we did all of our segments, my man. And we have some other work to do. But if you want us to continue to hang out, we'll hang out. Like Joe Lord sending in a $5 super chat. Joe. Appreciate that, Joe. I'm resetting the Super Chat shot clock. Resetting at the 2 minutes here. And we'll pop up Joe Lord's $5 Super Chat.
There we go.
That gets us to $68 in supers, $1 away from 69. What do you think we do with the $25 million in cap space? Roll it over to next year, make a preseason trade, or save it during the season if there is an injury. Yeah, you make a good point there, Joe, and you know ball. You can always roll over cap space year over year. And so I think that is a good strategy for Philadelphia. You maintain that salary cap space, and it gives you flexibility to either use in the 2026 offseason. You can use it at the trade deadline if you need a piece. I think what the Eagles are doing, building a team that can win and compete for championships now, but also trying to keep some of their great players under contract with contract extensions. I mean, you think about some of the players who are going to be due some paydays. They exercised the fifth-year option of Jordan Davis, so the final year of his deal is going to be 2026. Jalen Carter is going to be extension eligible after this upcoming year. Reed Blankenship, I think the Eagles would really like to pay him. That's another player who they could budget for. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, not quite there yet. If Nakobe Dean comes back and he plays well, he's entering the final year of his rookie contract. You have your offensive line all locked up. You sign Saquon Barkley. Some of that money could be used to redo a Jalen Hurts contract, as Jalen Hurts is no longer a top 10 highest paid quarterback in the NFL after that Brock Purdy contract extension. Purdy gets 53, tied for 7th. Hurts is at 51. And so you could give Hurts some more money after he just won Super Bowl MVP. I know he just signed that deal after the 2022 season, and he's about to enter year 3 of that following contract extension. But look, that deal is becoming a little bit outdated, especially if Hurts plays well once again. And so have a couple of different options with what the Eagles can do there. All right. We got past 2 minutes on the Super Chat shot clock. We're going to dip on out of here. Chip and I got some more things that we have to do following the live show. Joe Lord! He says, hold up. Here's another 5. Who is the big personality to replace C.J. Gardner-Johnson on defense? Who comes out of their shell this year? Or is it a new player? Yeah, you're losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson, big personality, and you're losing Brandon Graham. So I think Nolan Smith can help to replace Brandon Graham. When the Eagles drafted him, a lot of people talked about how Nolan Smith had a BG type of personality. I think you see that. Vivacious personality, always positive, loud with a smile. And so I think Nolan Smith helps to replace Brandon Graham. Who replaces C.J. Gardner-Johnson? I'm not sure anybody does. Now, Darius Slay did say that Reed Blankenship was next up as far as being a leader, but he doesn't step like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is very intense, was very vocal. Reed Blankenship doesn't have that type of style. Can he be a leader? For sure. And so I think the Eagles are going to miss that type of swagger, that type of physicality, that no fear, let's get it type of mental makeup. I'm not sure anybody can replace C.D. Deuce in that way. But the Eagles really like Reed Blankenship as a leader. Cooper DeJean has become an organizational favorite. Zach Bond, I thought, really stepped up at the end of last year with Nakobe Dean out. He started to wear that green dot, and he became a very vocal guy. Jalen Carter's pretty intense. He plays with a lot of intensity. Jahad Campbell, look at what he did at Alabama. I mean, he plays the game with reckless abandon.
I mean, shoot. Him and Makuba, man.
Him and Makuba. Yeah, they play like that. So, again, I guess I got to mention Makuba. He plays a lot like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Now, is he going to harness that? Is he going to let that loose as a rookie? We'll obviously see. But a good question for sure. I think the Eagles definitely going to miss C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Hey, Chase, did you ever report on why we traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Oh, my gosh. We did multiple videos on that. Brian Bidding. So, yeah. All right. Going to dip on out of here. The Tush Push lives on, baby. For Chip, I'm Chase. For the Bird Gang, thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And, of course, the daily coverage is going to continue right here on Philadelphia Eagles.